this is Kelsey Grace, and here is my Squishy Circuits lesson. When I began planning for this lesson, I really wanted to dive into and ask a question that was relevant for my students, so I went through a lot of thought with that and used some extra resources to help me out planning that. I did play around with the materials first to kind of figure out how my students would be able to use them. So I ended up with my ask question being, how can you build a light device to communicate an emergency? And I got that from Next Generation Science Standards, but also through the GRASP model from McTighe and Wiggins, which really helps create a role and an audience for students to make the context a little bit more relevant and authentic for them. So I decided on, you are camping with your family and need to create a device in the event that you get separated. The device can communicate using light or sound. So when I was thinking in my Imagine step, I thought, how do we use lights in the real world? So in nature, animals use lights to lure their prey or to attract their prey, so bringing things closer to them. And in the world, we use things like lighthouses was one of the things that I thought of. So they're placed strategically for boats to use. They have that purpose, and they use the flashing light to grab attention. So I was thinking of using the light in this context to have your family be able to find you, to grab their attention with the light, and to have them come closer to you. So in my plan, you can see it there. It's very, very rough draft. I decided to devise a line of my conductive and insulated dough to fit inside of a cardboard container so that the device would be able to be mobile. Because if you're going camping, you want something, I thought of it going into a backpack and how that would work. So it's fitting into the context of the problem that I created. In my create step, I explored some different shapes for my circuit and options that I had, so maybe like a circular circuit, but I ended up on going with like a more horizontal line so that it could fit into the container that I had previously thought of. And here was the final product that I created. So the battery pack, as you can see, is taped onto the bottom of that parchment paper cardboard box, and my light circuit that was shown in this photograph is stuck in there with the wires coming in through the side. For improvements, I thought that we could definitely add a mirror or a reflective object material onto the top of the container so that my students do learn that light reflects, and then they'll understand what materials they need to be using, because at this point when I would do this activity, they already would have tested out which materials work best to do that. So I would be assessing them on the materials that they choose to improve or what materials they would use in their light product. But back to what I did. Also to improve my device, I thought to make it longer to add some more lights. Now if I would do that, I would need a second battery pack, because the further down the line you get with the lights, they grow dimmer because they can only, they're so far away from the battery pack. So you would almost need another battery pack to come in on the other side, but that's just another improvement for the context of the problem. So my lesson plan for that is attached, so please feel free to look at that. Whenever I brought up the design tool from Jolly, I felt a little bit biased about the evaluation because I created the lesson and I was really thinking about these things ahead of time as I was planning it, but I truly felt like it did check a lot of the yes boxes. I did select somewhat for the role of the technology because it wasn't the true focus of the lesson, but it was definitely a part of it. I know in my lesson plan I noted that I wanted students to have that opportunity to be an engineer and design something that would make human life easier or help to solve a problem for humans. So that is definitely a topic that the teacher would have to bring up and discuss explicitly, I felt. And I did select yes for the math and science content, even though it contained the majority of science content. So that might be something that would have to change to somewhat, depending on how you see it. But I did feel like it was a lot, it's pretty heavy in science content. So that's why I selected yes for that. But if you have any suggestions, please let me know. And I hope that you enjoyed my screencast. Thank you.